Welcome to Confessions of a Parent Coach. I'm Coach, a mother of four, and potty talker, Ann Kaplan. This is the podcast where I confess something from my own parenting and coaching life, teach a lesson around it, and answer your questions. Even we parenting experts are far from perfect, and the real magic happens when we get down with all that imperfection. We get into the gritty side of parenting here, so earbud up and dive in. Welcome into another episode of the podcast, everybody. Oh, darn it. I'm looking at myself in the video, and I have the cutest earrings on, and you can't see them because of these stupid headphones. So ding dang. Everyone just has to picture my really cute earrings. They're shaped like a leaf because it's the fall, and they have like all different colors on them, and they're gold. Just imagine how beautiful I am. Which is what you have to do anyways, because 99.999% of people would not watch a podcast and a video. Anyway, I digress. Before I've even started, holy mackerel. I guess we're in for a doozy today, everybody. What we're going to talk about today is social emotional stuff when it comes to school. Remember, I told you last week we're going to talk about school stuff this week? Well, we are. Last week, we talked about grades and all of the stuff that goes along with academics. Today, we are talking about all of what did these used to be called when I was in college, like the soft skills instead of hard skills, the soft sciences instead of the hard sciences, social emotional stuff. It's a big deal. And thank God, schools are starting to recognize that social emotional stuff is a big deal because it is. And I can tell you, as someone who raised my kids for a couple of years in Spain in the Spanish school system, like it is not like that everywhere. Okay. A lot of places are still way behind the times in terms of understanding something that I said in last week's podcast, which was school is this stage on which all facets of their all facets of their development and personhood and challenges and all of these things play out on this one stage of school. So putting all of our focus on academics is really neglecting a huge part of our children. And so it's really important. Let's talk about it. And to be less PC about it, let's talk, instead of calling it social emotional stuff, like let's get real. A lot of this is talking about drama when it comes to kids' behavior in the classroom, frenemies, bullying, social crap, not getting invited to your friend's birthday party, not having anyone to play with on the playground, like all the drama. And if you're like me, when I was a kid, confession time, you have a double confession, I guess. When I was a kid, like school for me personally, like school might as well have been called like Ann Camp because my personality is uniquely suited to school in such a strong way. Like I really just thought about school as in listening to my teachers, doing my schoolwork, following rules. Easy peasy. And so I did great in school, but guess what? That is not the norm for many kids. And the confession side of this is because of my sort of just easy peasy attitude about school. Like I was not prepared for the drama at all. And I kind of rode that wave of easy peasy stuff until my daughter came along, and this is the second part of the confession. Like this girl is a drama hound. It's very hard for a lot of us to sidestep drama and not get sucked into stuff like that. And even as adults, right? So I think sometimes we give our kids who are dramatic or really sensitive or whatever a bad rap when, I mean, we're expecting them to do something that most adults can't do. Opt out of drama, just ignore a bully. Like, come on, give me a break, right? That's like practically impossible for even adults. And it's really hard for kids. So if your biggest school struggle has nothing to do with school, the way you think about it, and everything to do with drama, you are super not alone. And like I said, I got to give you my confession. So Gigi, like I said, very dramatic person. She's really evening out as she gets older. But I would say through like ages like I'd say maybe like fourth grade till maybe even earlier, like third grade until seventh for sure. It was just a roller coaster that I felt like I was strapped to and being dragged along for the ride. It was really, really hard. And my confession is that I really mismanaged it, partly because, like I said, school just wasn't dramatic for me. Partly because I'm not super dramatic, I don't think. I have a lot of friends who've told me, and I heartily agree that I'm a very intense person, but I'm not really like hyperbolic, and especially with social drama, I just really can't hang with that. And so a lot of my mistakes with Gigi came from my own just inexperience and misunderstanding, to be honest. And then the biggest mistake that I made with her around social drama was not using regular parenting skills. Like I, for some reason, put it in this like other basket of stuff, and I just broke all the rules, like trying to cheer her up, trying to, talk her out of what she would think, trying to fix her stuff, giving her suggestions for how to fix her problems with her friend. I mean, it was just real stupid, you guys. And I didn't help at all. Like all it did was make me really frustrated, because have you ever tried to support somebody through something that you really just can't even relate to? It's like it's really frustrating, because in your mind you're like, what even is this? What are we even talking about? Right? Because for us, it's not even an issue, right? So we just can't even relate. And that is totally where I was coming from. So not only were my efforts totally not helping Gigi, but they were really pushing us further apart, because we would kind of almost like get in arguments about like whether or not she was allowed to feel pissed off at a friend, or whether or not her teacher really does hate her, or whether or not, it really is unfair that she had to sit out at reset, whatever. We were arguing a lot, and it was not helping. So that's my confession for you. And today's episode hopefully will help you not do that. If you're already doing it, I'm going to talk to you about what to do instead. And remember that the whole reason why we're talking about school last week and this week is because of the upcoming Beyond Grades workshop. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, what are you waiting for? It is free. Hello. And you also have two chances to attend. You either get to pick a Sunday evening or a Monday at noon. These are all mountain time, by the way. And you can make it work. Make it work for yourself. Get your questions answered. We're going to talk about all the stuff. It's called Beyond Grades because we're talking about the whole child and the whole school experience. And I'm going to teach you in so much more depth some of the concepts we've talked about in these podcasts, and then also stuff that we haven't even talked about yet. Ooh, a little teaser. So get your butts over to enroll. The website is bit.ly/parenting beyond grades. And let's go. So let's talk about drama. Drama. Let's talk about drama and what I should have done with Gigi. So I think I first want to really normalize for everybody that for many, many children, their quote unquote schoolwork has more to do with sorting out their social and emotional world than it has to do with dealing with like academics and textbook stuff. So you think about it, when our kids start school, they're learning academics, they're learning actual like things in the classroom, and they might have homework, they might have projects they have to do, things like that. And what do? We don't even question it. We think, well, obviously, a parent's role is to support them while they learn how to succeed academically. We make sure that they're on top of it with their homework. We check in with the teacher about if they're learning, if they're not learning. What do? We investigate, right? We figure out, well, maybe this kid has like a neurotypical or neuroatypical, excuse me, way of learning, or they need some kind of different support in the classroom. We really take that schoolwork, the academic side of schoolwork, pretty seriously. And we don't even question whether or not it's our role to support them in that arena. Well, guess what? We also have to support them while they figure out how to succeed as friends, as partners, as classmates, leaders, and followers, all these things. This is why school is that kind of stage on which everything plays out. There's so many lessons. Okay. So, what do we do? How do we support? And this is where I think we get confused. This doesn't have necessarily only to do with school at all, but I think as parents, we might learn really great skills to deal with certain behaviors like, really concrete behaviors like throwing, using bad language, maybe biting when kids are little, or, all those kinds of things. And we forget that the way kids learn is the way kids learn. It doesn't matter if they're learning a quote unquote hard skill or a quote unquote soft skill. the elements of effective parenting don't change. So when you get stumped, here's a little tip for you. When you get stumped on a new thing that you don't know how to support your kid around, I want you to think about some of the things you've already successfully supported your kid around and break that down. Like, okay, well, how did I do that? What were the elements that made me successful? And how can I apply those elements to this thing? Because guess what? You do not have to reinvent the wheel every single time. Okay. So, how do we support our kids academically? We don't get upset, right? We stay neutral. We stay in our lane, meaning we don't do their homework for them. We don't, hovercraft around their schoolwork like we talked about last week. And we hold this container for them. Okay. Guess what? It's exactly the same around social emotional stuff. It makes no difference if your child's schoolwork is social emotional or academic. It's the same. We want neutrality. We want to be shepherding them by asking questions and being a sounding board for them versus doing stuff for them. We want to support, not solve. We want to stay in our lane. And we want to hold that container with boundaries. Okay. That sounds so great, doesn't it? What a beautiful life lesson. Guess what? We're not done because this is hard AF. Okay. It is easier said than done to be super neutral while your kid's getting bullied or to just stay in your lane while your kid completely mismanages, you know, a, a social interaction. And by the way, it could be our kid that's being the bully or not being kind or whatever. I remember getting a phone call home from River's teacher when he was like, oh shoot, maybe like first or second grade, that he had pushed someone down the slide. And, his excuse was, oh, my friend made me do it. I'm like, okay, here we go. Guess what? He's 16. He's still learning this same life lesson. Anyway, it could be your kid who's bullying. Either way, it is hard to stay neutral. It is hard to stay in our lane. It's hard to sit on our hands and bite our tongues while our kids botch all of this stuff up. It's hard to let them kind of just receive the bad grade or receive the not getting an invitation from their friend to the birthday party or not having someone to play with on the playground. It's really hard. Okay. So I'm going to give you an example from my own life with my kiddo. I have listened to her weep over an ex who betrayed her, beg me to let her go hang out with the exact same person at the mall, and then rage about her because somebody got in between her and this friend. And all of these people were the same person that she was weeping over, begging to hang out with, getting super possessive of. It's all the same. Okay. But I'm sitting there supporting her about this. Like, does that sound easy to be like neutral, hold boundaries, stay in your lane? Oh my God. It's like so hard not to just like freak out and be like, oh my God, you're being crazy right now. Right. Or like, give me the phone. I'll figure this out for you. Right. Um, and so these examples, like, I hope are illustrating to you, like, first of all, I get it. It is hard. But if we are going to get through this, we have to stay above the drama. Okay. That's the most important thing I want you to take from today's podcast. Our kids can't stay above drama yet. They're still learning. And the only way they're going to learn is what? How do kids learn? Doesn't matter if they're learning a soft skill or a hard skill. Kids learn through, say it with me, everybody, experiences and modeling. So when we stay above the drama, we are modeling that for our children so they can start to learn that. And when we give them the experience, let them struggle, let them have the experience of what happens when they don't stay above the drama. That is how they're going to learn to stay above the drama. So our kids can't do that yet. So we have to do that because if we jump in the pool with them, pretty soon we're pissed when they're pissed. We're sad when they're sad. We're worried when they're worried. Nobody is leading because everybody is in like this drama spiral and catastrophizing and everything. Okay. I'm going to give you one more example to show you what I mean. So my daughter has a friend who I would say maybe they're frenemies. They're definitely more in the friends department at this point, but over the years, they've definitely been hot and cold with each other. And something that I learned the very early on in my daughter's friendship with this person is how her parents do not stay above the fray at all. And so of course, we're talking about middle school girls. Every 5 minutes, there's some new horrible thing that's happening. And I'll give you an example of the most recent one. So my daughter went to her eighth grade school dance. All the kids were hanging out. Well, my daughter had her purse with her and her friend didn't. And so her friend was like, I'm going to put my phone in your purse, because I don't want to hold it or whatever. Gigi's like, cool, whatever. Well, I had to pick Gigi up early from the dance because she had another event to go to. And we're driving in the car, and you probably already are like, know exactly where this is going. Gigi looks in her purse and her friend's phone is in there. And she immediately was like, oh my gosh, I forgot to give my friend's phone back to her before you picked me up. And I was like, well, we can't turn around right now or you're going to be late for the second thing, but I won't get it back to her. Well, Gigi tries to let her friend know that, I've got your phone, but don't worry. It was fascinating because I'm sitting here in the driver's seat watching, and I wish I would have started a stopwatch when this all went down, because it could not have been more than 3 minutes between when Gigi called us a third friend to say, hey, will you let this person know that I have her phone? Between then and when I received a phone call from this kid's dad, and I promise you I'm not hyperbolizing when I tell you the conversation that I had with this person's dad. It was like, apparently Gigi took my daughter's phone. And I said, yeah, they had an accident. She put her phone in Gigi's purse and Gigi forgot. But, I'm happy to get it to you as soon as I drop Gigi off, blah, blah, blah. He's like, well, since it was an accident, I guess I could come and meet you. And because I'm a grown up and I can stay above the drama and I am trying to model that for my daughter. I did not say the 300 things that popped into my head of like, oh, really? And if you thought it wasn't an accident, then you wouldn't come get the phone. Okay, fine. I guess I'll just keep your kid's phone. Like, what the heck? This like you could just hear in this dad's voice the escalation, the intensity, the dysregulation that was happening inside of him because he had completely jumped into the pool with his kid. It is so important for us to stay above the drama and still empathize with our kids. Okay. So you're never, ever, ever going to hear me give you any scenario in which validating your child's emotions is the wrong choice. We absolutely want to validate our kids' emotions. That doesn't mean we agree with them. Validation and agreement are not the same thing. And it is very important for kids to feel validated. It is really not important whether you agree. In fact, it's a really great experience. Here we're back to experiential learning. It's a really great experience for them to have these moments where the two of you don't agree, and it's not a problem. The expression agree to disagree is a very powerful one in our family, and it's a real, true lived experience for my children. And that's so powerful. So remember, validating your kid's emotions does not mean you agree. So this kid might have called her dad and said, Gigi stole my phone. She's so mean. She never thinks about me. Now everything's a disaster. I'm never going to figure this out, blah, 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 blah. Dad does not have to agree with that, right? Dad can just not agree that somebody else is a jerk or did it on purpose or whatever. He could just say, like, I can tell you're really upset about your phone. I'm so sorry. I can imagine that. It's really hard when you don't have your phone with you. That's validation without agreement. And now dad has the ability to stay above the fray, to calmly engage, to have a respectful adult conversation with the other person's parent, which would have been much appreciated, I could tell you. All of these things that are unavailable to us when we get into the fray with our kids. So stay above the fray. Don't get into that drama dance with them, because it is our job to be leading, and we can't lead when we are enmeshed in our kids' emotions. So I hope that's helpful for you today. And I hope that you're going to be coming to the workshop. I want to see you. I want to look at your face and I want to wave at you and I want to teach you amazing stuff and I want to hear from you and answer your questions. So make sure you come, make sure you register. Remember bit.ly/parenting beyond grades. And I always do share the recording, but I really encourage you to come live because it's so great for us to be able to ask and answer questions, get real live coaching about this stuff, because you're going to have time to talk about not just the academic-y, schooly stuff. We're going to be talking about social stuff too. The bullies, the frenemies, the romance. We didn't even talk about that today. Oh my gosh, talk about romance and kids starting to get intimate and all that stuff. Kids feeling excluded, all the social drama, anything. So you're going to walk away with real tools to teach your child how to navigate the hard stuff about school for themselves. So I want you to register. I can't wait to see you soon. And I hope you have a great week. Bye, everybody. The episode is over, but there's more waiting for you. You can grab my free workbook, Getting Kids to Listen the First Time, that walks you through the fundamental principles I teach all of my clients and applies them to this very universal parenting challenge. So if you're sick of repeating yourself all day long or just want to learn more about my style, you'll definitely want to go to bit.ly/kidswholisten. And if you're ready to work with me, let's meet. Set up a free call at bit.ly/KaplanCall, and let's create an action plan that gets you exactly where you want to go. And of course, links to all this goodness are in the show notes. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.